Constance, we get this question at Loveology from time to time from moms who are kind of sheepish about it because they don't really want others to know they're feeling some mommy rage. They're like kind of lashing out at their kids. And can you address that? What can you say to that mom who's feeling that way?
Yeah, well, the first thing I would say is I totally get it. That's actually something I wrestled with when my kids were very young. It was very chaotic time, and I was just not really prepared for all of that kind of chaos. And so I remember going through that and feeling really alone, feeling really scared, and not knowing what to do. So
Yeah.
I like to talk about it now so that people
So
know
it's
they're not
not
alone.
it's not a thing that's completely abnormal. Like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? This is something that happens for some moms.
I think it happens for more moms than we know because it's a very scary thing to admit. But at
Yeah.
least 1 out of 9 moms have postpartum depression, which is where it can sometimes flare up, but it can go long after that too. Just anytime you're getting your buttons pushed and there's mass
Yeah.
chaos and kids are crying and you're running behind out the door because this happened and that happened, those flare ups can happen and it is normal. And it is something, though, that you want to have plans for how to deal with it.
So what can a mom do? Give us some tips.
Okay, so in my own journey, what I kind of learned to do was begin to understand what my trigger points were. So for me, a lot of crying without stopping would be a trigger point for me. Or if we were running behind on schedule, that would be a trigger point. And so I think first you kind of got to start of, checking out what are these things that trigger me to flare up. The second thing I had to do was be aware of how much time I went from initial trigger to blow up, and everybody's different. So for me, this will sound crazy, but it was 10 seconds. So I knew that once I started feeling that rolling around in me, I had about 10 seconds to either remove myself from that situation or I was going to, blow up at my kids. And so I had to learn to pause in that 10-second time, sometimes remove myself if I could, go in a bathroom and close the door, or, you know, reach out to a friend if I needed to and just let them know, hey, I'm feeling this trigger. And then it was super important for me to talk with my husband about it, which I was also uncomfortable, scared, embarrassed to admit, felt really guilty to say, hey, sometimes I'm losing my temper. But it was important for him to know that I was wrestling with that. And then finally, if that's something that really grows into an unmanageable problem, which it didn't for me, but it can, then you got to reach out and ask a counselor for some help, some anger management tools for that.
Yeah, super helpful. And it all begins with understanding those trigger points. What is it that's going to set this off? Realizing how long do I have once it happens, and then being able to do something about it. So helpful. Constance, thanks so much.
You bet.